Hi everyone, this is Dr. Vaughn, and I am going to record a short video to talk about using the substitution method to solve a linear system of equations. Along the way, we're also going to work in Microsoft Word, and if you haven't used it before, hope to show you a few things about using the built-in equation editor. So I hope this is useful to you, and this is the problem I've selected to do. It's number 28 from section 4.2. And I've already typed it into the equation editor, so you can see the typeset fractions and the problem as is. So the substitution method, of course, is where we take one of these two equations and we substitute it in for the other one. So I'm going to type that, guide the reader along, showing every step of the process in my response. So let's just start with here's my response so you know where I'm at. So we'll begin by substituting the second equation, which is already isolated for y, in for the y in the first equation. Go back and check my spelling. Now I'm going to go to a new line, and I'm going to use the equation editor now to show the process of inserting this 3/4 x plus 7 in for the y on the other side over here. So to get to the equation editor, go Insert, go up to Equation, and here's all the tools that you have. You have a little pop-up window, and now we're going to put in the expression 3/4 x plus 7. So to do that, the first thing I do is I want to go to the fraction bar to create a fraction. Now I have these two little boxes, and if I click on them, I can put in the numbers, the 3 and the 4, and use the arrow key to go over, and then I can continue with the algebraic expression. 3/4 x plus 7, that's the substituted part in the top equation, and now we'll leave the original side of the right-hand side. So minus sign, again use the fraction tool, 1/2 x plus 2. So that shows the first step of the substitution. Okay, now we're going to simplify just as a single linear equation, just like we've been practicing in the previous chapters. So the first thing I'm going to do to simplify is to combine the variables to one side. So I'm going to add this 1/2 x to both sides. So I'll show my work here, again using the equation editor. And the first thing I'm going to do is write the original problem statement, and then I'll show the 1/2 x to both sides. So let's start again with the fraction tool. You can also copy an existing equation down and then add to it, but we'll just type this over for now. I got those backwards. 3/4 x plus 7, and now we're going to add the extra term 1/2 x to both sides. So I'll put that extra add here at the end. And we're going to take the original expression that we had over here, fraction, put the minus sign out in front, 1/2 x. Now I'm going to add the 1/2 x that we added to the left. We're going to add that to the right also. And then we still have the plus 2 that we had before. Alright, so now we're going to see that the minus 1/2 x and the 1/2 x cancels each other out on the right-hand side, and we'll also move the 7 from the left-hand side over to the right-hand side to combine the two numbers together. So the next line that I might put on here is going to be the 3/4 x. I don't want to do two steps at once, so we're just going to put the 3/4 x plus the 1/2 x together. And we'll actually combine those in the next step. Now we have the plus 7 that was there before, but this time I'm going to subtract 7 from each side of the equation. Now on the right-hand side, the minus 1/2 x and the 1/2 x cancels each other out, so you just had the 2 left, but now we're subtracting 7 from each side of the equation. So for the next line, now the 7 minus 7 gives us 0. I'm going to simplify the left-hand side with the x's, and I'm going to simplify the right-hand side with the numbers. So we'll factor the x out and write this as 3/4 plus 1/2. Now I'm going to introduce the operation of adding a bracket or a parentheses. You have these options up here. So here's the parentheses, and that's where I want to put the 3/4. So I'm going to go to the fraction tool, and the plus the 1/2. And all of this gets multiplied by the x, and that's all that's left on the left-hand side because the 7 and the 7 canceled out and became 0, right? So on the right-hand side now we have the 2 and the minus 7, which again we can combine together to get minus 5. So the last thing we have to do is get a common denominator for our fractions and add these together to simplify before we can solve for x. So now I'm going to add the 3/4 and the 1/2. In order to do that, I find a common denominator between the 4 and the 2, which is going to be 4. So I'm going to multiply the 1/2 by 2 over 2 in order to create a common denominator. So we'll go back to our equation, insert, we'll put in our parentheses again. We'll write this first fraction still as 3/4. Oops, wrong one. 3/4. Now plus, I'm going to write this next one as a fraction with on the top a 1 times 2 and a 2 times 2, which gives us the 4. So I'm showing the operation of getting the common denominator equals minus 5. And on the next line, we'll simplify that to 3/4 plus 2/4, which we could combine together to get 5/4. Again, what I'm going to do this time is just copy this whole expression, and then we're going to just paste it in here. So this time we're just going to change this to a 2 and a 4. And on the next line we'll do this again, and we'll just write all of this as 3/4 plus 2/4 as one single fraction, where you have on the top 3 plus 2 over 4. That's how we combine our fractions together. Again, I'm being very deliberate, showing every particular step that you have. Now we have 5/4 x equals minus 5. This one I'll just do a new equation. And finally, we multiply by 4/5 on both sides to get the x by itself. So that'll be our last step, I think. Insert, equation. So we're going to multiply here 4 over 5 times the 5 over 4x and whatever we do to one side we have to do to the other side. So we had the minus 5, and since we multiplied by 4/5 we need to multiply by 4/5 over here as well. So on the left side you have 4/5 times 5/4, which is going to give us just the x. That's why we did this operation. And on the right hand side you see the 5 cancels the 5 on the bottom, and you have just negative 4. So our final solution to this single linear equation is x equals 4. Now once you have a solution for the x, you have to go back and solve for what the y is. So we're going to plug this x value of negative 4 back into either one of the top two equations. And we're going to tell the reader exactly what we're doing. Now we solve for y. Using the original equation, which was up here. Y equals, let's use the second one, 3/4 x plus 7. So in order to do this, we just plug the value of x that we have, which is x equals -4, in for the x in that original equation, and we do the computation. Insert, so y equals 3/4, showing the reader that I'm actually plugging in for the x in the right spot, times the -4 value which we have for x, and now we add the 7. And simplify to the value this y equals -3 plus 7, because the 4's cancel, which is equal to 4. So our solution to this system of equations is x equals -4 and y equals 4. And so we're going to write that in set notation as an ordered pair. So last time we're going to use the equation editor, go into equation, bracket. This time I'll use the curly brackets for a set notation. And then inside of that, I'll use another set of brackets for the point notation. And here I'm going to use the comma to separate the two numbers. So the x value comes first, -4, and then the y number comes second, 4. So we have a single point, which is the solution set to this systems of equations. Well, that's it for now. I hope that this has been helpful, and have a great day.